The morning that never changes. Daniel Brooks wakes up before his alarm. He doesn't know why. He hasn't known why for years. The room is dark. The air feels heavy, like it always does before sunrise. The digital clock on the nightstand reads 5:47 a.m. His alarm is set for 6 o'clock. 13 minutes. Enough time to stare at the ceiling and think about nothing. Daniel keeps his eyes open. The ceiling has a small crack running across it, shaped like a crooked river. He has memorized its path. It starts near the smoke detector and curves toward the corner above the door. He doesn't remember when he first noticed it. He only knows it's always been there. The apartment is silent, not peaceful, not comforting, just silent. No traffic noise reaches this far back. No neighbors arguing, no TV sounds through the walls. Only the low hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Daniel breathes slowly. In, out, in, out. He is not sad. He is not happy. He simply is. The alarm goes off. 6 a.m. The sound is sharp, annoying, and unnecessary. Daniel turns it off immediately. He sits up slowly, rubbing his face with both hands. His palms feel dry. His eyes feel heavy. He swings his legs over the side of the bed. His feet touch the cold floor. Cold is good. Cold reminds him he is awake. Daniel stands. His bedroom is small. A bed, a dresser, a chair with clothes on it, a small trash bin near the door. Nothing on the walls, no photos, no posters, no memories. He once thought about hanging something. He never did. In the bathroom, he flips on the light. The mirror shows a man who looks older than 41. Light brown hair, thinning at the front. Short beard that he trims once every 2 weeks. Lines around his eyes. Not deep, but noticeable. Daniel looks at himself, not with hatred, not with love, just observation, like looking at a stranger in a bus window. He brushes his teeth. The toothpaste tastes strong, minty, the same brand he has bought for years. He spits, rinses, wipes his mouth. He doesn't study his face. There's nothing to study. He already knows it. In the kitchen, Daniel pours cheap coffee into a paper filter, adds water, presses the button. The coffee machine gurgles. He leans against the counter and waits. The kitchen is even smaller than the bedroom. 1 counter, 1 sink, 1 stove, 1 refrigerator. No table, no chairs. He eats standing up, has for years. The coffee finishes. He pours it into a chipped mug. The mug used to say, "World's Best Dad." The word dad faded years ago. Now it just says, "World's Best." Daniel doesn't remember where he got it. He drinks. The coffee tastes bitter, but warm. Warm is enough. He puts on his gray hoodie, black jacket, worn jeans, work boots. He checks his pockets. Wallet, phone, keys. Same routine, every day. At 6:20 a.m., Daniel steps outside. The air is cool, early morning cool, the kind that feels clean. The sky is pale gray, not night, not day, something in between. Daniel walks down the sidewalk. His apartment building is old, brown bricks, paint peeling around the windows. No security gate, no front desk, just doors and stairs. He passes 3 parked cars, a dented sedan, a dusty pickup, a small hatchback with a cracked windshield. He doesn't know who owns them. He doesn't care. The bus stop is 4 blocks away. Daniel walks at the same pace every morning. Not fast, not slow, just enough to arrive on time. He passes a closed convenience store, a laundromat with flickering lights, a small church with a white wooden cross, a barber shop that opens at 9. Everything feels half asleep. At the bus stop, there are already people waiting. A woman in her 20s wearing scrubs, a man in a reflective construction vest, a teenage girl with headphones. No one talks, no one smiles, no one frowns. Everyone stares at nothing. Daniel sits on the metal bench. It is cold. He checks the time, 6:31 a.m. The bus is scheduled for 6:35. It will arrive at 6:40. It always does. Daniel doesn't get angry. There is no point. He watches a leaf blow across the sidewalk. It moves, stops, moves again, stops again. Daniel feels connected to the leaf. The bus arrives. Doors hiss open. People step inside. Daniel taps his card. The machine beeps. He walks to the middle of the bus and sits by the window. Left side, 3rd row, same seat. He has never told anyone this is his seat, but it feels like it is. The bus smells like rubber and old fabric. Someone coughs. Someone sighs. The bus starts moving. Daniel watches buildings pass. Small houses, old stores, gas station, fast food place. Everything feels slightly dirty. Not destroyed, not beautiful, just used. Daniel works at a warehouse, a shipping warehouse on the edge of town. He has worked there for 11 years. He scans packages, places them on conveyor belts. That's it. He does not hate his job. He does not love it. It pays rent. It buys food. It keeps life going. When Daniel was younger, people asked him what he wanted to be. He never had an answer. He still doesn't. At 6:58 a.m., Daniel clocks in, 2 minutes early. He puts on gloves, walks to his station. The scanner beeps. Beep. Box slides. Beep. Box slides. Beep. Box slides. The rhythm is steady. The rhythm is comforting. His mind becomes quiet. Around him, forklifts move. Machines hum. Boxes slide. People talk in the distance. Daniel does not talk. He nods sometimes. That is enough. During break, he sits alone. He drinks water. He watches other workers scroll through phones, laugh, complain. No one bothers him. No one avoids him. Daniel exists in the space between noticed and ignored. He prefers it there. At lunch, Daniel eats a ham sandwich. No chips, no soda, just sandwich and water. He eats slowly. He is not in a rush. Nothing is waiting for him. After lunch, more scanning, more beeping, more sliding. Time moves in small pieces. At 3:30 p.m., Daniel clocks out. He feels a mild sense of relief. Not happiness, relief. He walks back to the bus stop, waits, rides, watches the city pass again. At home, Daniel microwaves a frozen meal, beef and pasta. He eats standing in the kitchen. He watches the microwave timer like it is a TV show. 2:30, 1:45, 30 seconds. Beep. He eats, washes his fork, leaves the tray in the sink, sits on the couch, turns on the TV. A game show is playing. People cheering. Someone wins $10,000. Daniel feels nothing. Not jealousy, not excitement, just nothing. He checks his phone. No notifications. He checks again. Still nothing. He places the phone face down. Daniel goes to bed at 10:30. He lies on his back, stares at the ceiling crack, the crooked river. A thought floats into his mind. Not loud, not dramatic. If he disappeared, would anyone look for him? He does not cry. He does not panic. He simply wonders. Tomorrow will look exactly like today. and Daniel already knows it.
The man at the grocery store. Daniel Brooks wakes up at 5:47 a.m. Again. The number feels permanent. He doesn't question it anymore. He doesn't wonder why his body wakes him before the alarm. It simply happens. The ceiling crack is still there. Same crooked river, same shadow, same pale darkness. He lies still, breathing, not counting, not planning, just waiting. At 6 a.m., the alarm sounds. Daniel turns it off. He sits up. The room feels slightly colder than yesterday. Maybe winter is closer. Maybe the heater is getting weaker. Daniel doesn't check. He doesn't adjust anything. Some things feel too small to fix. He goes to the bathroom, looks at his face. Nothing new. Brushes his teeth, washes his face, drinks cheap coffee, puts on the same clothes, leaves. Outside, the sky looks heavier than yesterday, more gray, less soft. Daniel walks to the bus stop. Same pace, same sidewalk, same closed stores. A paper cup lies on the ground near the curb. It wasn't there yesterday. Someone dropped it. Someone didn't care. Daniel steps around it. At the bus stop, the same woman in scrubs is there. The construction worker is missing today. The teenage girl with headphones is there. Different music, probably. Same posture. Daniel sits. Cold bench. He looks at the street. Nothing moves except a stray cat crossing between two parked cars. The bus arrives late. Daniel gets on. Same seat. Window. Third row. The city passes. Daniel doesn't follow any specific building with his eyes. He just lets the blur happen. At work, everything is identical. Beep, slide. Beep, slide. During break, Marcus sits 2 seats away. Marcus scrolls his phone. Daniel drinks water. Marcus sighs loudly. Daniel doesn't look at him. Marcus speaks anyway. Man, I'm tired. Daniel nods. Yeah. The word surprises Daniel. He didn't plan to say it. Marcus looks at him. Not long, just long enough. Long shift yesterday. Daniel nods again. Marcus goes back to his phone. The conversation is over. It wasn't important, but it happened. Daniel returns to scanning. Beep, slide. At lunch, Daniel eats his sandwich. Same taste, same texture, same nothing. He finishes early, sits quietly. For a moment, he considers pulling out his phone. He doesn't. He stares at the table. The plastic surface has scratches, thousands of lunches, thousands of small movements, people leaving tiny marks, then disappearing. Daniel clocks out at 3:30 p.m. On the way home, the bus feels more crowded. 2 high school boys talk loudly. A woman argues on her phone. Someone smells strongly of cigarette smoke. Daniel looks out the window. At his stop, he gets off. Instead of going straight home, he turns left. He doesn't think about it beforehand. It just happens. 2 blocks later, there is a grocery store. A small one, not a big supermarket, just a local place. Daniel usually shops on Saturdays. Today is Wednesday. He doesn't know why he turned left. He doesn't analyze it. He pushes the door open. A small bell rings. Inside, the store smells like old cardboard and fruit. Fluorescent lights buzz quietly. The aisles are narrow. Daniel grabs a basket. He walks slowly. He doesn't need much. Bread, milk, microwave meals, maybe eggs. He picks up white bread, puts it in the basket. He picks up milk. He pauses in front of the frozen section. So many boxes. Pictures of food that never looks like the picture. He chooses the same brand he always buys. Chicken pasta, beef rice. He adds 2 boxes. He walks to the egg section, takes a carton, 1 dozen. He looks at the price, higher than last month. Everything feels higher than last month. He puts the eggs in the basket anyway. At the checkout, only 1 register is open. A man stands behind the counter. About 60. Gray hair, thin face, wearing a simple name tag. It says, Thomas. Thomas looks tired. Not dramatically tired, just long-term tired. The kind that settles into the face. Daniel places his items on the counter. Thomas scans slowly. Beep, pause. Beep, pause. The silence is not uncomfortable. It feels neutral. Thomas glances at Daniel. Evening. Daniel hesitates. Evening. Thomas nods. The total appears. Daniel pays. Thomas places the receipt on top of the bag. Have a good one. Daniel almost says nothing. Almost. You too. Thomas gives a small nod. Not a smile, not a frown, just acknowledgement. Daniel leaves. The bell rings again. Outside, the sky is darker than when he entered. Clouds are thicker. Daniel walks home. He feels slightly heavier. Not emotionally, physically. The grocery bag pulls on his arm. At home, Daniel puts things away. Bread in cabinet, milk in fridge, frozen meals in freezer, eggs in fridge door. Everything has a place. He microwaves 1 meal, eats standing. He watches the microwave timer. He thinks about Thomas. Not deeply, just the idea of him. A man who stands behind a register, who probably goes home to a small place, who probably eats simple meals, who probably wakes up tired. Daniel doesn't know any of this, but the possibility exists. After eating, Daniel sits on the couch, turns on the TV. A news channel plays quietly. Something about rising prices, something about politics. Daniel changes the channel. A nature documentary. Birds flying, mountains, rivers. Places Daniel will never visit. He doesn't feel jealous. They just look far away. Daniel checks his phone. No messages. He doesn't expect any, but he checks anyway. He thinks about the woman from the bus who dropped her wallet yesterday. He wonders if she remembered his face. Probably not. He wonders if Thomas will remember him. Probably not. Daniel goes to bed. He lies down, stares at the ceiling crack, the crooked river. A new thought enters. Small, quiet. There are other people living lives just as small as mine. The thought doesn't comfort him, but it doesn't hurt either. It simply sits there. Daniel closes his eyes. Tomorrow will look the same, but today had one extra moment. A grocery store. A man named Thomas. That is all.
Daniel woke before the alarm again.
The room was quiet except for the soft hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen. The crack in the ceiling looked the same as yesterday. He stared at it without thinking. He rolled onto his side. For a moment he thought about staying in bed, but his body moved before his mind could decide. He dressed slowly. Gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. The mirror in the bathroom showed a man who looked older than 41. His eyes seemed tired in a way sleep never fixed. He brushed his teeth, rinsed, turned off the light. Outside, the morning air felt heavier than usual. The bus stop looked the same bench, the same quiet. A young woman stood a few feet away, scrolling on her phone. An older man coughed into his sleeve. No one spoke. The bus arrived. Daniel sat near the window. Buildings passed by, store signs, empty parking lots. His reflection appeared faintly in the glass. He looked away. At work, the warehouse sounded like distant thunder. Beeping scanners, rolling carts, footsteps. Daniel stood at his station, scanning box after box. Beep, place. Beep, place. Time moved without shape. During break, he sat alone at his usual table. Marcus Hill dropped into the chair across from him. Marcus looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. "You ever feel like every day is the same one?" Marcus said. Daniel didn't answer right away. He held his water bottle. "Yeah," Daniel said quietly. Marcus nodded once. Then he stood up and walked away. Daniel watched him go. Something about the short conversation stayed with him. It wasn't important, but it existed. After work, Daniel did not go straight home. He walked past his apartment building. 2 blocks farther stood the town's small public library. He had not been inside in years. He stopped on the sidewalk. The windows glowed warm yellow against the gray evening. He told himself he was just curious. He opened the door. The smell of old paper and dust greeted him. It felt familiar, though he couldn't remember when he had last smelled it. The library was nearly empty. A woman sat behind the front desk. Brown hair pulled back, calm face. She looked up. "Hi," she said softly. Daniel hesitated. "Hi," he replied. He walked between the shelves. Rows of books stood quietly like they had been waiting. He ran a finger across the spines. History, travel, fiction. He stopped in front of a shelf labeled Local History. One thin book stuck out slightly. He pulled it free. Inside were old black and white photographs of the town. The streets looked smaller, the buildings simpler. People stood stiffly, unsmiling. He turned pages slowly. Halfway through the book, one photo caught his attention. A woman stood in front of a small grocery store. Young, dark hair, soft eyes. Something about her face felt familiar. Daniel frowned. He studied the caption. Mary Brooks, cashier, 1978. His mother. He hadn't seen a photo of her that young before. His throat tightened. He sat down in a nearby chair. He stared at the picture. He tried to remember her voice. He couldn't. That bothered him more than it should have. Footsteps approached. The librarian stood a few feet away. "That book doesn't get checked out much," she said gently. Daniel swallowed. "She's my mother," he said. The woman's eyes softened. "I'm Anna. Let me know if you want a copy of the page." Daniel nodded. "Thank you." He closed the book carefully. He returned it to the shelf. Before leaving, he looked once more at Anna. She smiled slightly. Daniel nodded back. Outside, the air felt colder. He walked home slowly. At his apartment, he sat on the bed. The room felt different. Not better, not worse, just different. He lay down. The ceiling crack waited above him. But tonight, he thought about the photo, about his mother standing in front of a store, young, alive, real. He did not fall asleep right away. For the first time in a long while, a memory tried to return.
The weight of quiet. The alarm rang at 5:30 a.m. Daniel did not turn it off right away. The sound filled the small apartment. He stared at the ceiling, not at the crack this time. He thought about the photograph, his mother's young face, the way she stood in front of the grocery store, alive. The alarm kept ringing. Daniel reached over and turned it off. He sat on the edge of the bed longer than usual. His feet rested on the cold floor. He did not move. Eventually, he stood. He dressed slowly. Gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. The mirror reflected the same man, but his eyes looked slightly more awake. Outside, the morning air felt sharp. The bus stop bench was wet from overnight rain. Daniel sat anyway. Cars passed occasionally. A woman stood a few steps away. An older man waited farther down. No one spoke, but Daniel noticed things. The way the woman tapped her foot, the way the old man adjusted his hat. Small movements, small signs of life. The bus arrived. Daniel boarded. He chose a seat near the middle. As the bus pulled away, he saw the library building in the distance. He watched it disappear. At the warehouse, the noise felt heavier today. Beep, roll, clatter. Daniel scanned boxes. His hands moved automatically, but his mind drifted. He remembered his mother standing at the grocery store counter. He wondered what she had sounded like when she laughed. During break, Daniel sat alone. Marcus Hill walked past. He stopped. "You go anywhere after work yesterday?" Marcus asked. Daniel hesitated. "The library," Daniel said. Marcus raised his eyebrows. "Didn't know people still went there." Daniel gave a small shrug. Marcus nodded. "Cool, I guess." He walked away. Daniel looked down at his hands. The conversation had lasted less than 10 seconds, but it stayed with him. After work, Daniel went home first. He placed his jacket on the chair. He stood in the kitchen. The refrigerator hummed. He did not turn on the TV. He sat at the small table. The silence felt heavier than usual. He remembered the photo, the feeling of seeing his mother as a young woman. A sudden thought came to him. What if there were more photos? Daniel put his jacket back on. He left the apartment. The library looked the same as yesterday. Warm lights, quiet windows. Daniel opened the door. Anna looked up from the desk. "Hi," she said. Daniel nodded. "Hi." He walked toward the local history shelf again. He pulled the same thin book. He sat in the same chair. He turned pages slowly. There were other photographs, group photos, street scenes, old storefronts. None showed his mother again, but he kept looking. Time passed quietly. Anna approached. "Find anything interesting?" she asked. Daniel shook his head. "I was hoping there might be more." She nodded. "We have some archived boxes in the back, mostly photos and old newspapers. They're not organized very well." Daniel hesitated. "Could I look?" Anna smiled. "Sure, just be gentle." She led him to a small back room. Cardboard boxes lined metal shelves. The air smelled of dust. Daniel opened one box. Inside were envelopes filled with photographs. He picked one at random. More street scenes, more unknown faces. Then he found another photo. A woman sitting on a bench, holding a small boy. The boy wore a striped shirt. The woman looked tired, but she was smiling. Daniel recognized the woman. It was his mother. The boy had to be him. His hands trembled slightly. Anna stood nearby, giving him space. "She was beautiful," Anna said softly. Daniel nodded. "I don't remember this," he said. "That doesn't mean it didn't matter," Anna replied. Daniel looked at the photo again. The boy in the picture looked safe. That surprised him. He carefully placed the photo back in the envelope. Anna offered to make a copy. Daniel agreed. She disappeared to the back with the photo. Daniel waited. When she returned, she handed him a paper copy. "For you," she said. "Thank you," Daniel said. The words felt small, but they were all he had. Outside, darkness had settled over the street. Daniel held the copy carefully inside his jacket. He walked slowly home. In his apartment, he placed the photo on the small table. He sat on the bed. He looked at the picture. A mother, a child, together. The room felt quiet, but not empty. Daniel lay down. The ceiling crack was still there, but tonight it did not feel as important. For the first time in years, Daniel allowed himself to believe something simple. Someone had once held him. Someone had once cared. He closed his eyes. Sleep came slowly, but it came.
A small kindness. Daniel woke before the alarm, not because he had to, because he could not sleep. The printed photo sat on the small table across the room. He had placed it there last night. His mother, him as a child, together. He sat up in bed. He looked at the photo for a long time. Nothing dramatic happened, no rush of emotion, just a quiet pressure in his chest. He stood, dressed, gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. Before leaving, he picked up the photo. He slid it carefully into a drawer. Not hidden, just safe. The bus stop was quiet. Cold air brushed his face. A woman stood near the bench. An elderly woman approached slowly with a cane. She struggled slightly, stepping up onto the curb. Without thinking, Daniel stood. He walked toward her. "Here," he said softly. He offered his arm. The woman looked up, surprised, then grateful. "Thank you," she said. Daniel helped her sit on the bench. She smiled. "I'm Evelyn," she said. Daniel nodded. "Daniel." They sat in silence. It did not feel uncomfortable. The bus arrived. Daniel held the railing as Evelyn climbed the steps. The driver waited. Daniel followed behind. They sat in separate seats, but Daniel noticed she was breathing a little easier. At the warehouse, the day moved slowly. Beep, place. Beep, place. Daniel's hands worked. His mind returned to the bus stop, to Evelyn's small smile. It had not taken effort. It had not changed the world, but it existed. During break, Marcus sat near Daniel. "You always this quiet?" Marcus asked. Daniel thought. "Mostly," he said. Marcus nodded. "Yeah, me too, I guess." They sat without talking. Not awkward, just quiet. After work, Daniel went home. He sat on the edge of the bed. He thought about Evelyn, about helping her, about how small it was. A thought appeared. Maybe small things were enough. Daniel stood. He left the apartment again. He walked toward the grocery store. Inside, the aisles were half empty. He picked up a loaf of bread, a can of soup. At the checkout, Thomas Reed stood behind the register. "Evening," Thomas said. "Evening," Daniel replied. Thomas rang up the items. The screen flashed a total. Daniel hesitated. He looked at the small rack beside the counter. Gift cards. He picked up a grocery gift card, $5. He placed it on the counter. Thomas looked at him. "Need a receipt for that?" "No," Daniel said. Daniel paid. He slid the gift card back toward Thomas. "For whoever needs it," Daniel said. Thomas studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Okay." Daniel took his bag and left. Outside, the sky was dark. The streetlights glowed softly. Daniel did not feel proud. He did not feel heroic. He just felt quieter in a different way. At home, Daniel sat on the bed. He opened the drawer. He took out the photo. He looked at it. He thought about his mother holding him, about Evelyn's smile, about the gift card on the counter. Tiny things, small things, but real. Daniel placed the photo back in the drawer. He lay down. The ceiling crack waited above him, but tonight his eyes did not stay there. He closed them. Sleep came.
A quiet conversation. Daniel woke to the sound of rain. Not heavy rain, just steady. The kind that made everything feel slower. He lay in bed and listened. Water against glass. A distant car passing. The room felt dim. He did not reach for his phone. He did not think about work right away. He simply listened. After a while, he stood, dressed. Gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. Before leaving, he opened the drawer. He looked at the photo. He did not take it out. He closed the drawer gently. Outside, the sidewalk was dark with rain. Daniel walked carefully. At the bus stop, Evelyn Parker sat on the bench. Her cane leaned against her leg. She looked up. "Morning," she said. "Morning," Daniel replied. They stood under the shelter as rain fell. A quiet moment passed. "I hate this weather," Evelyn said. Daniel nodded. "Me too." She smiled faintly. "Hurts my knees." Daniel did not know what to say. "I'm sorry," he said. "That's okay," she replied. They stood in silence again. The bus arrived. Daniel held the door as Evelyn stepped inside. She patted his arm. "Thank you, Daniel." He nodded. At work, Daniel felt tired. The rain made the warehouse colder. Boxes felt heavier. During break, Daniel sat alone. Marcus approached. "You look exhausted," Marcus said. Daniel shrugged. "Didn't sleep great." Marcus nodded. "Same." They sat. Marcus looked at Daniel. "You live alone?" Daniel hesitated. "Yes." Marcus nodded. "Me too." Nothing else was said, but something had been shared. After work, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. Daniel did not go straight home. He walked toward the library. The windows glowed warmly. Inside, Anna sat at the desk. She looked up. "Hi, Daniel." Hearing his name surprised him. "Hi," he said. He walked toward the shelves. After a moment, Anna stood and approached. "I found another box of old photos yesterday. Some are from the 80s. Daniel's heart moved slightly. "Really?" She nodded. "If you want to look." They sat at a small table. Anna placed a box between them. Daniel opened it carefully. Photos, faces, street corners, children playing. He turned each one slowly. Anna watched quietly. Daniel picked up a photo of a woman holding a toddler. Not his mother, but similar. He stared at it. "My mom worked a lot," Daniel said. Anna looked at him. "She was always tired." Anna nodded. "Mine too." Daniel looked at Anna. For a moment, they shared something. Not details, just understanding. After a while, Daniel closed the box. "Thank you for letting me look," he said. "Anytime," Anna replied. Outside, the rain had almost stopped. Daniel walked home. He felt lighter. Not happy, not fixed, just lighter. At home, he sat on the bed. He thought about Evelyn, Marcus, Anna. Small conversations, short moments. He lay down. The ceiling crack was there, but it did not bother him. He closed his eyes. Sleep came easier than before. The thing he never said. Daniel dreamed. Not clearly, just fragments. A woman's voice, a child's laugh, then darkness. He woke before the alarm. His heart felt heavy, not painful, just full. He lay still. The ceiling crack waited, but his mind was somewhere else. He turned onto his side. He opened the drawer. He took out the photo, his mother holding him. He stared at it. "I'm sorry," he whispered. He did not know why he said it. He just did. He placed the photo back. He sat up, dressed. Gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. The bus stop was quiet. Cold morning. Evelyn sat on the bench. Daniel nodded. "Morning." "Morning," she said. She hesitated. "My husband used to help me onto the bus." Daniel looked at her. He passed 5 years ago. Daniel did not know what to say. "I'm sorry," he said. Evelyn nodded. They were good years. They sat. Silence, but not empty. The bus arrived. Daniel helped her on board. At work, Daniel struggled to focus. Boxes blurred together. During break, Marcus sat across from him. "You ever talk to your family?" Marcus asked. Daniel shook his head. "My mom died. Dad left when I was a kid." Marcus nodded slowly. "Sorry, man." Daniel nodded. That was the most he had ever said out loud. It scared him, but it also felt lighter. After work, Daniel went to the library. Anna looked up. "Hi, Daniel." "Hi." They sat at a table. Neither spoke at first. Daniel held his hands together. "My mom died when I was in my 20s, Anna said quietly. Daniel looked at her. "I still talk to her sometimes," she said. Daniel hesitated. "I don't remember my mom's voice." Anna did not rush to answer. "That doesn't mean she didn't love you." Daniel swallowed. "I found a photo of her holding me," he said. "That's good," Anna replied. Daniel nodded. They sat, two people, sharing quiet truths. Outside, the sky was dark. Daniel walked home. His chest felt strange, not heavy, not light, open. At home, he lay on the bed. He stared at the ceiling. For the first time, he said the words out loud. "I miss you, Mom." No one answered, but the room did not feel empty. Daniel closed his eyes. Sleep came slowly, but it came. A small light. Daniel woke to sunlight. Not bright, not warm, just enough to notice. He lay still. The ceiling crack was there, but he did not look at it for long. He turned onto his side. He felt rested. Not energetic, not happy, but rested. He opened the drawer. He took out the photo. He looked at it. Then he placed it back. Not quickly, not carefully, just normally. He stood, dressed, gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. Outside, the air felt softer. The bus stop bench was dry. Evelyn arrived a few minutes later. She smiled when she saw Daniel. "Morning," she said. "Morning," Daniel replied. They stood quietly. After a moment, Evelyn spoke. "I baked cookies yesterday." Daniel looked at her. "My grandson visited," she said. "He didn't eat many." She reached into her bag. She held out a small plastic container. "For you." Daniel hesitated. Then he accepted it. "Thank you." "You're welcome," Evelyn said. The bus arrived. Daniel helped her on board. He held the container carefully on his lap. At work, Daniel ate one cookie during break. It was simple. Chocolate chip. Soft. It tasted good. Marcus noticed. "Those look better than the vending machine junk," Marcus said. Daniel nodded. "My neighbor gave them to me." Marcus paused. "That's nice." Daniel nodded again. He felt strange saying it, but not bad. After work, Daniel went to the library. Anna looked up. "Hi, Daniel." "Hi." Daniel held the small container. My neighbor baked these," he said. "I can't eat them all." Anna smiled. "Are you offering?" Daniel nodded. She accepted one. "Thank you." They sat at a table. They did not look at photos today. They did not talk about parents. They talked about small things, books they liked, weather, how quiet the town was. It was easy, too easy. Daniel noticed that, and it did not scare him. Outside, evening light filled the street. Daniel walked home. He felt warm, not inside his body, inside his chest. At home, he placed the container on the counter. 2 cookies remained. He sat on the bed. He thought about Evelyn, Marcus, Anna. 3 small points of light. Nothing dramatic, nothing life-changing, but real. Daniel lay down. The ceiling crack was there, but his eyes did not go to it. He closed his eyes. Sleep came quickly.
A place at the table. Daniel woke before his alarm. The room was quiet. He listened. No traffic, no voices, just the soft hum of the refrigerator. He did not feel heavy. He did not feel light. He felt steady. He sat up. He put on his hoodie. He stood by the window. Across the street, Mrs. Cole was sweeping her porch. She nodded when she saw Daniel. Daniel nodded back. It felt natural. At the bus stop, Evelyn was already there. She held a small paper bag. "I made soup," she said. Daniel blinked. "For later," she added. Daniel accepted it. "Thank you." "You don't have to thank me every time," she said with a smile. Daniel almost smiled. Almost. At work, Marcus sat beside Daniel during lunch. "Some of us go to Pete's Diner on Fridays," Marcus said. Daniel stared at his sandwich. "Not a big group," Marcus added. 3 or 4 people. Silence. Daniel swallowed. "I don't usually go places." "That's okay," Marcus said. "Just letting you know." Daniel nodded. Marcus stood to leave. Then Daniel spoke. "Maybe I could try." Marcus paused, then smiled. "Yeah, that'll be good." Daniel's heart beat faster, but it did not hurt. After work, Daniel went to the library. Anna was shelving books. She saw him. "Hi, Daniel." "Hi." He walked to the table. She joined him. "I was thinking of joining the library's small book club," Anna said. Daniel looked at her. "They meet once a month." She waited. Daniel said nothing. Then, quietly, "What book are they reading?" Anna smiled. "Short stories." Daniel nodded. That felt manageable. Evening. Daniel warmed the soup Evelyn gave him. He sat at the small kitchen table. Steam rose from the bowl. He ate slowly. It tasted homemade. It tasted caring. After eating, Daniel washed the bowl. He placed it upside down to dry. He looked at the empty chair across from him. For the first time in years, he did not feel afraid of that chair. He imagined someone sitting there, talking, eating. Not today, not tomorrow, someday. Daniel sat back down. He breathed. He existed. And that felt okay. Light among shadows. Finale. Daniel woke to the hum of morning traffic. Sunlight streamed through the blinds. He sat up. The ceiling crack was there. He looked at it once, then away. Not fear, not obsession, just acknowledgement. He dressed. Gray hoodie, black jacket, jeans, boots. Outside, the street smelled faintly of rain from yesterday. At the bus stop, Evelyn Parker waited. She smiled and waved. "Morning, Daniel," she said. "Morning," he replied. She held out a small tin. "Homemade muffins," she said, "for you and Marcus." Daniel accepted it. "Thank you," he said softly. At the warehouse, Daniel arrived early. Marcus noticed him at the break table. "Wow," Marcus said, noticing the tin. "You didn't have to." "I know," Daniel said, "but she made too many." They laughed softly, not loudly, not obnoxiously, just two people connecting quietly. During the lunch break, Daniel sat with Marcus and two other co-workers. Small talk, shared sandwiches, simple jokes. Daniel laughed. It felt strange, good strange. After work, Daniel went to the library. Anna was at the table with a stack of books. "Hi, Daniel," she said. He smiled. "Hi." They talked, not about tragedy, not about loneliness. Books, weather, even the small book club. Anna handed him a notebook. "Thought you might like to write down your thoughts," she said. Daniel took it. "Thanks," he said. He flipped it open. Pages were blank. He smiled faintly. For the first time, he felt like maybe he could fill them. Evening came. Daniel returned home. He placed the muffins on the counter. He brewed tea, sat at the small table. He looked at the empty chair, then at the photo of his mother. He whispered softly, "I'm still here, and it's okay." No echo, no answer, just quiet. He felt warmth, not loud, not dramatic, but enough. Daniel went to bed, ceiling crack above, soft light from the lamp. He closed his eyes. No fear, no heavy weight, just a quiet acceptance. Sleep came. Tomorrow would be another day, a day with people, small acts, quiet moments, and Daniel would be ready.